Hi guys, today we're going to learn how to simplify, multiply and divide rational expressions. Okay, so let's start with the first example over here. Okay, so here you can see that we have a difference of squares. Okay, so what we can do here is going to be decompose this as 2a minus 3 times 2a plus 3. Okay, after that, in the denominator, what you are going to see here is that this has in common the 5, so you have 5 times 2a plus 3. Okay, at that point you need to stop and ask yourself, can you cancel stuff and things? And the answer is yes. You can see that 2a plus 3 is a factor of the denominator and the numerator, therefore we cancel it out. So you have 2a minus 3 and everything is going to be divided by 5, and that's it. Now let's move on to number 2. Number 2, what you need to recognize here is, yes, the denominator has a pattern, but the numerator you need to distribute that 4 first. So you have that h squared plus 4 plus 4h is going to be something. And if we rearrange, it's easier, right? So you see that we can rearrange, okay? Actually, I would rearrange as h squared plus 4h plus 4. Okay, so you can see the pattern, and you can tell me two numbers that when you multiply them they give you 4, and when you add them or subtract them they give you positive 4. Well, that's pretty simple because you know that it's going to be h plus 2 times h plus 2. Okay, so you have your numerator factored out. Now the denominator here, you recognize that it's basically difference of squares, so you have h plus 2, h minus 2, and in this situation you can cancel stuff and things. What can you cancel? Well, you can cancel this with this, and then your resulting expression is going to be h plus 2 divided by h minus 2, and that's it. Okay, so for number 3, what you have over here is you have 10r power 5 divided by 21s squared times 3s divided by 5r cubed. Okay, so please note that you have a dot there. When you have a multiplication or a dot, what you are going to go is you are going to multiply straight through. Okay, so you are going to multiply like that. Okay, so if you want to rearrange this in a more user-friendly way, you have that this is going to be 10r power of 5 times 3s, and then it's going to be divided by 21 squared times 5r power 3. Okay, but since we want to simplify, you know that 10, you can divide 10 and 5. Okay, so that's going to be basically a 2. Okay, in addition, you know that if you do 21 divided by 3, you have that guy is going to be 7. Okay, also what you can see here, okay, is that you have the s's and the r's here and here. Okay, so using properties of exponents, let me record what we have here. We have the 2 on the top and the 7 at the bottom. So let's attack the r's first. Okay, so you have r power of 5 and r power of 3. Which one is bigger? The one at the top. So you are going to do 5 minus 3. So you have that r is going to be r squared. Then the s, you compare s to the power of technically 1 and s to the power of 2. Which one is bigger? This one. So you are going to bring this one down. So you have s to the power of 2 minus 1 having just s. And that's it. Okay, so you cannot simplify it more. Okay, so let's move on to number 4. What do you have for number 4? You have cd minus 2d squared plus c squared. Okay, so this one I want to rearrange it because I want to have the quadratic term at the front. Okay, so that's why I'm rearranging, so you can see what's going on there. So I rearrange it like that. Now let's see the denominator. Do I need to rearrange the denominator? And actually I don't. So you have c squared minus 4cd plus 3d squared. Okay, so after that, what you have is that you can factor out the numerator, right? Two numbers that when you multiply them they give you negative 2, and when you add them they give you 1. Okay, so you have the C and the D here, the C and the D here, and you know that those numbers, what are going to be those numbers, is going to be positive 2, okay, and negative 1, okay, so you put a negative, well, you could put the 1 there, but you know that that 1, you don't need it, okay. So now for the denominator, what you have is, again, you have a situation when we can factor with C and D. Why C and D? Because the C square and the D square, but this D is at the end, okay. So I do the same, two numbers that when I multiply them they give me 3, but when I add them or subtract them they give me negative 4, and those two numbers are going to be negative 3, okay, and negative 1, okay. So you don't need to put these ones, but I just put them so you can see where they are coming from. Obviously this cancels with this, and then what I have left is just C plus 2D divided by C minus 3D, and that's it. For problem number 5, what you need to do is you need to realize that this is a multiplication, so you need to multiply this trinomial times this binomial straight through, okay. So remember, when you have the multiplication, you multiply straight through the fractions, okay. So meaning you are going to have x squared plus x minus 6 times x squared minus 25, okay. Then obviously you do your division, okay, line, and then you have this one, okay, times x squared plus 4x plus 3. Okay, now you need to focus on how we can factor each one of these pieces. Let's start with the first one on top. X squared plus x minus 6. What you know is two numbers that when you multiply them they give you negative 6, and when you add them or subtract them they give you positive 1. Those numbers are going to be x plus 3 and x minus 2. Okay, so you factor this one as this one. Now you look at this one and you realize that that's the difference of squares, meaning this is going to be x minus 5, x plus 5, okay, because you see the x squared and the negative 25. After that, again, I do my division line, and now it's super long because my expression is longer. Okay, so you realize that this one we cannot factor it much, but you realize that we have this negative in front. Therefore, I'm going to take it out, okay, because you know that I don't like to have my leading coefficient negative. Therefore, we have this equation. Now, so I put the negative here and I change the sign of the x and the 5, okay. So here, what you need to do is, again, we need to factor using the AC or the master product method, whatever you prefer, or box method, okay. Two numbers that when you multiply them they give you positive 3, and when you add them or subtract them positive 4. That's pretty simple. You know that it's going to be x plus 1, x plus 3, okay. So now that you are there and you have all linear factors here and here, you are going to ask yourself, what can we cancel? Okay, let's start with this one. Can we cancel that one? And the answer is yes. Now let's look at this one. Can you cancel that one? No, there's nothing at the bottom that I can cancel it with. Move to the x minus 5. I can cancel it with this guy. This one I cannot cancel it. So officially we are done in this equation, okay. So we rewrite what we have. So you have x minus 2 times x plus 5, okay, and then again your division line here, you have that it's negative x plus 1, okay. So that's as much as you can simplify, okay. So if you want to write this as you know, as the multiplication of this and distribute the negative, okay, so I would put the negative at the front, and then I would put that this is x squared, and it's going to be plus 3x minus 10 because I do the distribution of that one, and then the x plus 1 here. Please note that the negative is at the very front, so I'm just going to strategically do my line here so you can see the negative there, okay. And that's it for number 5. Now let's look at number 6. What's up with number 6? Number 6 is a little bit different because you will realize that this is the division. Remember that when you do the division, it's up, down, up, okay. So it comes like this, okay, and the result goes up, and this one goes down, up, down, okay. So meaning it's going to be like a cross, okay. So I'm going to rearrange it before I factor stuff, okay. So you have that it's 2 minus x, and this is going to be times x squared minus 1, and this is going to be divided by Okay, you start with the bottom, so it's x squared plus 2x plus 1 times x squared plus 5x minus 14. Okay, so please note I'm going to do my line a little bit longer, otherwise it's kind of ugly. Okay, so please note that we can factor several things. Okay, so let me do a line here so you don't confuse the number 5 with 6. Okay, so you have that this is equal to, again, I don't like that negative, so I'm going to take it out in front. Okay, so you know that it's going to be x minus 2. This one is a difference of squares, so x minus 1, x plus 1. Okay, I'm done at the top, so you know I'm going to do this line pretty long since we have two quadratic equations at the bottom. Okay, so I know that the first one, okay, how can we factor it? Okay, so you have that it's going to be x squared plus 2x plus 1, two numbers that when you multiply them they give you 1, and when you add them positive 2, well, that's fairly simple, plus 1, or you can put x squared x plus 1 squared, excuse me. Okay, so now you need to factor x squared plus 5 minus 14, that one. Okay, so two numbers that when you multiply them they give you negative 14, and when you add them or subtract them they give you positive 5. Those numbers are going to be positive 7 and negative 2. Okay, now we are going to do whatever we did in this step. Okay, well, that negative we cannot cancel it out. This x minus 2 we can cancel it with this one. This x minus 1, it doesn't have a match. Okay, so I'll move on to the next piece. X plus 1 with this x plus 1 cancels. Okay, so officially we have this equation. Let's rewrite. We have negative x minus 1, and this is going to be divided by x plus 1, x plus 7. Okay, so far we have that, and if you want to express this as you know, as the official polynomial there, you have the negative at the very front. Okay, and then you have x minus 1, and then divided by, I would put x squared, and then you know that that's going to be 8x, and that's going to be plus 7, and that's going to be your result in this equation. So for number 6, what we need to do here is you realize that we have the division there, so you know that it's up, down, and down, up. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it here, so you have that it's 6a squared plus 5a plus 1, and you know that you're going to multiply this times 2a, and this is going to be divided by 3a minus 6 times 4a squared plus 4a plus 1. Okay, so you have that. Okay, now what's the next step here? The next step, you want to factor everything. Okay, but the factoring of this one is not as user friendly. Why? Because you know that, I'm going to do a side note here, you know that 6a squared plus 5a plus 1, two numbers that when you add them they give you 5, and when you multiply them they give you 6. What we're going to do here is you have that this is 6a and 6a, and what are going to be those two numbers? You know that two numbers that when you multiply them give you 6 and give you 5 as addition is going to be plus 2 plus 3. Okay, then you divide by 2 this, so you have 3a plus 1, and you divide by 3 this, and you have 2a plus 1. Okay, so this is going to be your factor for this piece, and I'm going to put it here. So 3a plus 1 times 2a plus 1. This one I would take out the negative, I'm going to put it there, and then I'm going to have a minus 2. Okay, so far that's what we have. Okay, then let's look at the bottom. Okay, so at the bottom you have that 3a minus 6. Clearly it has a greatest common factor, that it's a 3. Okay, so you take out the 3, so you have a minus 2. Okay, here this one, let's do it on the side so you know what's going on. You have that it's going to be 4a squared plus 4a plus 1, so you know that you want two numbers when you add them 4, and when you multiply them they give you 4 because it's AC. Okay, so what are those two numbers? Well, you know that it's going to look like this: 4a and those two numbers, you know that they are positive too. Okay, so then you need to simplify them, dividing them by 2, so you have that it's 2a plus 1, 2a plus 1. Okay, so you just replace all of this by 2a plus 1 times 2a plus 1. Okay, and after that you just start canceling. Okay, so I can cancel this one? No. Can I cancel the 2a plus 1? Well, yes. The negative? No. The a minus 2? Yes. Okay, so what do you have? We have 3a plus 1 times a negative, but actually you can pass it at the front. 3 times 2a plus 1. Okay, so you have that situation, and how this equation looks like. Well, you can put the negative at the very front, have your 3a plus 1 there, and then at the bottom you can distribute the 3, right? So you have that this is going to be 6a plus 3, and that's it for number 7. Now let's do number 8 here. Okay, let me copy number 8 because that one is very long, so might as well. So we have 8x power 3 minus 125. Then we have that this is going to be divided by 6x squared minus 11x minus 10, and this is a multiplication, so we have 3x cubed plus 2x squared minus 3x minus 2, and this is going to be divided by 12x squared plus 30x plus 75, and this is going to be divided by 5x squared minus 3x minus 2 divided by 15. Okay, so you're like, yikes, it's a lot. Don't worry, we'll tackle this problem. Okay, so what are we going to do? Okay, follow the rules. Okay, so you know that this is a multiplication, so these two polynomials, they are going to multiply straight through. Now the result of that multiplication, since you have a division, you are going to multiply it times the 15. So you have a situation where you have this, okay, and then times this, and then the result of the multiplication of this times this, you are going to put it at the top. So it's going to look like this. Let's rewrite it. So you have 8x cubed minus 125, okay, times 3x cubed plus 2x squared minus 3x minus 2, okay, times 15, okay, and this is going to be divided by 6x squared minus 11x minus 10 times 12x squared plus 30x plus 75 times 5x squared minus 3x minus 2. Okay, so wow, it looks like a lot, but don't worry, you know that we will make it simpler. Okay, so now what? You're like, well, I don't know. Okay, so let's start with this one. What are you seeing there? Well, for me, I see the difference of cubes. Okay, so you recognize that that's the difference of cubes. 2 cubed is 8, x cubed is x cubed, 5 cubed is 125. Okay, so what do you have here? You have 2x minus 5 times 4x squared. Then you multiply this times this, so you have that it's plus 10x plus 25. Okay, so this guy became all of this. Now this one over here, what are you going to do with that one? Okay, so honestly, I would take another piece of paper and start doing it separately. Okay, so let me write it here. So you have 3x, I would rewrite it. Why? Because I see that I have 4 factors, so I would do grouping. Okay, so I'm going to put the 3's together. Maybe that's better. Okay, so I'm going to group this and this. Okay, so I know that 3x is going to be my commonality from this 2, so you have that this is going to be x squared minus 1. Okay, then you have that in this situation I have the 2 as a commonality, so I have x squared minus 1. Now I ask myself what this term has in common with this term, and the answer is x squared minus 1. So you have x squared minus 1 times 3x plus 2. If you are wondering where this 3x plus 2 comes from, this guy and this guy. Okay, moreover, I can factor this one a little bit more. You know that that's the difference of squares, so you have x minus 1, x plus 1, 3x plus 2. Okay, so wow, I'm going to factor that, and this is as much as I can factor because everything is linear. Okay, so I just copy that guy here. Okay. Okay, now it's the turn of the 15. You know that the 15, I just leave it like that. Okay, so let's move on to the denominator. Ooh, okay, so the denominator. Let's look at the denominator. Okay, so for the denominator, what do you have? Let me write it here. We have this 6x squared minus 11x minus 10. How can you factor that? Two numbers that when you add them, they give you negative 11, and when you multiply them, or multiply them, they give you 60. Okay, so what do you have here? Well, here what we're going to do is you have the 6x here, the 6x here, and you know that those two numbers are going to be negative 15 and positive 4. Okay, because 4 times negative 15 gives you negative 60, that I forgot to put a negative there. Okay, and when you combine them, actually add them, 15 plus 4, you have 11. Okay, now you simplify that situation as usual. Okay, so you are going to divide by what there? 3. Okay, so you have that it's 2x minus 5, and this one we're going to divide it by 2, having 3x plus 2. Okay, you check them, it works, they are linear, so I just replace this guy for this. Okay, for this 2. Okay, so I have that. Now let's move on to this one. This one, actually, I see it and they have something in common. Okay, and what's the thing that they have in common? They have a 3 in common. Okay, so I take out the 3. Okay, I divide 12 by 3. What do you have? That it's 12 by 3 for x squared. Okay, then you divide 30 by 3, you have the 10, and then you divide that by 3, that you know that it's 25. And you're like, wow. Okay, so now, and you know that this one, since it was the difference of cubes, this is not factorable, so we don't even bother because we see the similarity there. Then you look at this one and you're like, oh, again, I need more space. Yes. Okay, so let me just strategically scroll this one here and here so you can see my work. Okay, so you have 5x squared minus 3x minus 2. You want two numbers that when you add them, they give you negative 3. And when you multiply them, they give you negative 10. Okay, so what are going to be those two numbers? Okay, so that's going to be, well, you need the 5 here, the 5 here. Okay, so that's going to be x minus 5, x plus 2. Okay, because when I multiply them, they give me this one, and when I add them, they give me negative 3. Okay, so this one, clearly I can simplify it, divide it by 5, so you have x minus 1, and this one I cannot do anything, so I just leave it like that. And I replace my situation here. Okay, so now, finally, let's move to the whole thing there, since it's so long. You are going to cancel stuff and things. Okay, so I cancel this one. I can clearly cancel this one, which is pretty cool. Then this one, I can cancel it with this one. This one, there's nothing. Okay, so I don't cancel it. Move to the next one. 3x plus 2 cancels with this one. Then the 15, I cannot cancel it, but I can do 15 divided by 3, right? So if you do that, I have a 5. Okay, and then what's the next thing that I have? X plus 1, and then you have left, well, this one it became a 5. Let me just record it there so we can keep it, and then you have the 5x plus 2. Okay, so you have that, and this is going to be equal to distribute the 5, so 5x plus 5, and then divided by 5x plus 2, and that's it. Okay.